So you are running the Boston Marathon and you may be a little bit nervous. Today I am going to share 9 tips of things that I learned last year that I think really help ease nerves and calm anxiety. Be sure to stick around to the very end because I'm going to share tip number 9, the one that I think is most important at the very end. So tip number 1 is to minimize the unknown. A lot of times we're nervous and anxious because of things that we do not know. It's the unknown. So the best thing that you can do is to educate yourself. There's a lot of really great YouTube videos that are out there. I'll put some links to some of my favorites in the comments. They give brief course overviews. The BAA participation guide also has a lot of really important information, as well as simply just studying the elevation profile. Obviously, there's a whole lot out there and you can spend hours and hours, but just spend a little bit of time getting comfortable with the information that's out there, familiarize yourself with the course, and have an idea of what to expect on race morning. Tip number 2 is to break the course down. 26.2 miles can seem like a really long way, but one of the most beneficial things that I heard from a Q&A session where Joan Benoit Samuelson said, break it down. And so she talked about chunking it into just thinking about 10 miles, then thinking about another 10 miles, and then all you have left is a 10K. So that was really helpful for me last year. I think we all probably can think of a 10-mile loop that we regularly do near our house. And if you just chunk it and think about it that way, then it doesn't seem quite so overwhelming. Another way to break it down is to just think about things that you have to look forward to. So just knowing at the halfway point, I'm gonna get to go through the Wellesley Scream Tunnel, and that's gonna be really fun and exciting. And then at 21, I'm gonna hit the top of Heartbreak Hill, and there's gonna be a big archway saying, congratulations, you made it to the top of Heartbreak Hill. And it's downhill from then on. So just chunking the race into smaller parts and then also giving yourself things to look forward to along the way, I think really helps to ease the anxiety as far as knowing it's 26.2 miles. Tip number 3 is to use a packing checklist to make sure you have all of the essentials. Another thing that I think is really helpful is to lay everything out as you are packing and take a picture of it. That way, as you are driving or if you're on an airplane and you start to worry, oh, did I pack that? I can't remember if I packed that. You can look at the picture and then you will know whether it is there or not. Good news is, if you have forgotten something, there's a ton of stores in Boston. You can probably buy it there, whatever you need. Also, the night before, I definitely recommend doing a flat lay and laying everything out so you have it all laid out, including your bus bag as well as your gear check bag, your nutrition. Just have it all laid out the night before. So that's one less thing that you have to do in the morning, and you can go to bed at night knowing that you have everything that you need ready to go. Tip number 4 is know what you need around the weekend. So the whole Boston Marathon weekend, there are tons and tons of things going on. In addition to the things that are in the BAA Expo schedule and FanFest, all the different pop-up shops and running stores have tons of different things going on. And it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of really great shakeout runs that can help to ease anxiety too, just being around other people and getting excited about it. But for some people, it can just be overstimulating, and it's better to just go for a walk or run by themselves rather than go on a shakeout run. So know what you need, and don't let FOMO cause you to overpack your schedule and then just feel overwhelmed and exhausted. So Boston Common is a really pretty place, and there's a beautiful path along the river. So if you just need to do a shakeout run by yourself or just have some time alone, do it. If you need to be around people the whole time and get excited and pumped, do it. Just know what you need and take care of what you need going into Marathon Monday. Tip number 5 is the night before the race, have something that you can read or watch that is inspirational to you. So that way, the last thing you read or see, the last thing you think about before you go to bed that night is whatever that thing may be, and not the downward spiral of all the things that you could be worrying about. So my last marathon, the night before, I finished Des Linden's book, and that was just the perfect thing to read and got me so pumped and ready for the marathon. I've also read other biographies of famous runners that have just really gotten me pumped. So just maybe it's a movie, like a little clip from a running scene that just really gets you excited. Whatever it is, let that be the last thing that you see or watch or read, so that that's what you're thinking about when you go to bed the night before. Okay, tip number 6 is for race morning. The BAA puts out a schedule of when to get on the buses and when to get in your corrals. And I would just recommend follow this schedule. I've seen a lot of people talk about not wanting to wait around, so they're going to get on a later bus and save themselves some time. I would recommend stick to this schedule. It's there for a reason, and it really is helpful to make sure everything goes smoothly. I followed this schedule last year, and I really did not feel like I waited around at all. Actually, by the time I did my porta potty lines, used the porta potty, got lined up, it was perfect. So I would say just follow the schedule. If you show up late and try to beat the system, you may cause yourself unnecessary stress by running late and just not having enough time for yourself to do all the things that you need to do. So follow the schedule. They do a really good job of planning everything out, and it will work out. Side note on that is, if something does happen and you do end up getting there late, it is a chip time. So it is okay if you happen to miss your wave because you get stuck in traffic and somebody's dropping you off, or if you happen to need extra time, going to the porta potty or whatever the case may be, it's okay. As long as I think last year the last runner started at like 11:30. So as long as you were there by then, you're going to be okay. You can still start, you can still finish the race, and know that even if you start in the back, you can still have a fast time. I have some friends who started in the final waves and still did like a 3:17 marathon. So you can still have a quick marathon even if you start later. So don't let that stress you out, but do try to stick to the schedule that's on the BAA website. Speaking of getting on the bus and waiting in line and standing around, my tip number 7 is seek out and be positive energy. So I mentioned this before in a previous video, but I highly recommend making some friends as you are getting on the bus, as you're riding. It's like about an hour long bus ride. As you're waiting in Athletes Village, find some other people to talk with. I think that really helped me last year, just to talk with somebody about something other than running for a little while. And obviously, negative energy and nerves can kind of perpetuate and build when you're talking with somebody about all the things that you're nervous about. So if you can find some other people who have positive energy and are excited and positive, that will really help your mindset as well. Tip number 8 is to have fun. So Boston does have a lot of prestige, obviously, but it is also a party, and you will realize as you are running down the streets that there are people in their front yards grilling, and this is what everybody in Boston does and has done for as long as they can remember. It is a party, and it is so fun, and they are there for you. They are there to celebrate you. So one of my favorite mantras is that the marathon is really the celebration of all of the hard work and training that you have already done. So remember that Monday is party day, and it's time to have fun and celebrate all the work that you have already done. Okay, tip number 9, and I think this is the biggest one and this is the most important one, is to have an attitude of gratitude, and gratitude for so many things. And if you have not watched the Boston Marathon documentary, I highly recommend watching that. It really gives you a whole new appreciation for the race itself, the race's history, and all the running icons and legends who have run Boston before you. And it will just give you a whole new sense of gratitude and appreciation for running down those streets, and just thinking it is the oldest organized marathon in the world, and thinking about all the people who have run those streets. So for me personally, I'm really inspired by Bobby Gibb and Catherine Schweitzer, who are the women who really paved the way for women and running, and just thinking about the greats like Bill Rogers and Meb and Shalane Flanagan and Des Linden and Kipchoge, all those people ran on the same streets that you are going to be running on. And just thinking about that and thinking about the history of the race and all it's been through, it's just so inspirational and really evokes a sense of gratitude to just be able to be there and be able to run in the Boston Marathon. I think it's important to not only have an attitude of gratitude for the race itself, but also for the many people who allowed us to line up on race morning itself. So just thinking about all your family members, all your friends, your training partners who helped support you and get you to that point, as well as just gratitude for your body that you are able to run that far. And whether it be you worked your tail off to qualify or you worked your tail off to raise money, thinking about that, thinking about all the hard work that you put into training for it. So just having an attitude of gratitude for actually being able to line up on Marathon Monday. If this has been helpful for you, and I really hope that it has, please give it a like. And if you would like to see our other Boston related and running related videos, don't forget to click subscribe. And I will see you on the next one.